Lanka crisis, armed forces given shoot-on-sight orders amid protests. Amid protests in Sri Lanka, authorities have extended curfew till 7 a.m. on Thursday, even as the European Union on Tuesday condemned the violence in the island nation. The EU calls on the authorities to initiate an investigation into the events and to hold accountable those instigating or perpetrating violence. The EU urges all parties to refrain from violence and to show restraint, the 27-nation bloc said. Amid large-scale protests in the country, Sri Lanka's defense ministry on Tuesday issued shoot-on-sight orders. The move came as fresh protests broke out in Sri Lanka's capital Colombo today. The armed forces have been ordered to open fire on anyone trying to loot public property or cause harm to others, reports claimed. Demonstrators continued their protests after several people were injured and at least 7 killed in clashes with security forces. Police had fired tear gas and water cannon to disperse crowds and declared curfew in Colombo. Sri Lanka has given emergency powers to the military and police to detain people without warrants after clashes with protesters in which at least 7 people were killed and 200 injured. According to the new powers, the military can detain people for up to 24 hours before handing them over to the police. Any person arrested by a police officer shall be taken to the nearest police station, police spokesman Nihal Thaldawa said. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had declared a state of emergency last Friday as protests escalated. The police chief was rescued after reinforcements were sent to the area and warning shots were fired. Tennekun was responsible for security arrangements in Colombo. Earlier, former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was brought out of his residence by security officials after protesters tried to storm the building overnight. Lankan authorities said the mob assaulted a top Sri Lankan police officer on Tuesday and set his vehicle on fire. Reports said Senior Deputy Inspector General Deshabandhu Tennekun needed emergency treatment before returning home. Sri Lanka deployed thousands of troops and police on Tuesday to enforce a curfew after 5 people were killed in the worst violence in weeks of protests over an unprecedented economic crisis. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's home in Kurunegala, in the country's northwestern area, was set on fire just hours after he submitted his resignation. Increased civic unrest and a crippling economic crisis are currently plaguing the country.